Assalamu alaikum everyone, happy new year, welcome to 2020, and if you are subscribed already, thank you so much, and if you're a new subscriber, then welcome to the Blushing Giraffe. 2019, a year not gonna be missed. So it is January the 1st, it's a Wednesday. I feel like there are three types of people in the world. There's the first type who are like, you know what, new year, just a different date, just a different day. You make resolutions that you're gonna break, what's the point? Then there's people who are so on it and they are so focused and driven that they actually really don't need this sort of new year fresh start sort of feeling. And then there's probably like the 60% of us who are like, you know what, this is a new year, and it's not just a new year, it's a whole new decade. So I think that's pretty significant. We're now in 2020, it's a brand new decade. 10 years ago I was 14 years old. A lot has happened in my life in the last 10 years. I definitely am one of the people, the third type of person, who thinks it's a new year, it's a fresh start, it's a fresh chance to reevaluate life and see where it's going, see where I'm going. 2019 has been definitely a year of lessons, a year of I will say we took L's, me and my husband both, but at the end of the day, being a Muslim and being someone who truly does believe in the qadr of Allah, whatever happened was meant to happen. At the time, and even like now to this day, sometimes it's hard to understand like why certain things happened. I think having that faith in Allah means that you don't really question it, you just accept that this is part of the plan. Started off the year and it was pretty amazing. A brand new newlywed, like we got our own place, our own apartment. I was still at the job that I had before. Alhamdulillah, like I think we did a pretty good job. Like we had so many cute moments. We had like our first IKEA trips together, brought furniture together, we paid bills together. We had like the true, I feel like, representation or experience of being independent adults in our own place. I say one of the best things is the amount of traveling I was blessed to do. I traveled more in 2019 than I did for most of the decade that has gone past, which is kind of crazy because my husband has as much of a travel work, if not more, than I do. He's seen a lot of Europe, and so yeah, alhamdulillah, we got to travel a lot. So for our honeymoon we went to Dubai first, we went to Indonesia, Bali, which was an absolute dream. It was amazing. We saw things that we would never get to experience like in the UK or in Europe. Don't get me wrong, it was not cheap, but it wasn't like crazy expensive. Like it was definitely doable, and we had the best time ever. And then when we hit our 6 months, which was in June, we went on a lovely trip to Cologne in Germany, which one of the vlogs is up for that already. I do have one more vlog coming up, so that will be up this week, of Germany, and that was really nice because I've really not seen many cities outside of the UK in Europe, and Cologne isn't one that, you know, I've heard about loads or anything, but my husband was so sweet. He planned that as a birthday present for me, like a birthday surprise, where we ended up meeting the couple we met in Bali. So we met a German Muslim couple in Bali. They were there for their 1-year anniversary trip, and we met them, and their English was amazing, like nowhere near like my kind of German. And they were just such sweet people. At this point they've gone to 3 countries, and now just in the last couple of weeks we have been to our 4th country together, and that was Morocco. We went to Marrakesh for our 1-year anniversary, and it was a very like last minute trip. It wasn't planned to the T. We went on Ryanair, which it's not my favourite airline, let's just say that. I definitely would say that Marrakesh is a truly unique place, and I'm sure that if you visited, you'll know what I mean. We didn't do as much of the things that I suppose a lot of people usually do, like we didn't go to the Atlas Mountains, do the camel riding, etc, which we definitely could have done, but kind of just wanted to get a taste of the city and just experience the souks and the old Marrakesh and not do too much, because we were there for about 3-4 days and 4 nights, so it was such a nice little getaway. We had some lovely winter sun, and again, like, I did vlog that trip, but I vlogged it differently. I didn't do as much talking. My last update video, I'm kind of in the same position still, where I'm looking for like a job abroad, so we definitely still want to do that this year, inshallah. So yeah, that brings me on to one of the L's of this year for me personally, was, I suppose, like, having this dream that shortly after getting married I would be going abroad, and I really thought that the end of 2019 would be spent living in a Middle Eastern country, preferably Dubai. I started doing the research for that years before, like years and years, even before I'd even become a teacher. Like, this was a long time dream. Just because it hasn't worked out one time doesn't mean that it's not meant to be. It just means that there's a lesson to take from that, that not everything is gonna fall on my plate easily. And to be honest with you, that's one of the reasons why I took the hit so hard. Maybe not necessarily at the time, but it definitely was a shock to the system. Think that basically one of the reasons why it was such a hit for me was because, alhamdulillah, every single thing thus far in my life that I've set out to do, alhamdulillah, I have achieved straight away. And that's nothing really to do with me. I mean, obviously you have to have some perseverance, and you have to have some sort of vision, and you have to try, but it was by the grace of God that I got the grades I did for A-level.
And I got into the course I wanted for university, and I graduated with a 2-1, and then I got into the course I wanted straight away for teaching, and I left that without standing, and then I got the first job that I really wanted.
And, you know, alhamdulillah, like, I've had such a smooth road, and I don't know if I've spoken about this already, but I'm just gonna sort of bring it up again because I think it's important to talk about things like this. Not everything in life is going to go your way, and that was the biggest lesson I learned in 2019, and it's something that we will all learn, I believe, at different stages of our lives and at different times, whenever it's meant to be. Not everything that you set out to do is going to happen, but does that mean that you just suddenly stop? No. Although, like, it was a big shock, and obviously by the time that they told me that the job wasn't available, which I sort of explained in another video, I'll link it in the eye, I didn't have time to seriously apply for another job. I definitely tried. By the way, I'm using the Zoeva Cocoa Blends palette. The thing is, we were very set on where we wanted to work as well. I did have job interviews in Abu Dhabi. Alhamdulillah, like, I got the jobs. They were good schools, but we at the time definitely did not want to go for Abu Dhabi. And maybe that's another lesson to learn, is that sometimes just because you really want a certain job or a certain location, it's not gonna work out, and so you have to decide, right, do I want to continue with this dream or let this setback not defeat me and just widen my horizons a bit? And I think it took that lesson to really understand that and to grasp that for the both of us. I'm not gonna lie, at the time I was quite stressed, and we still had our apartment, but we were starting to pack our things up, and then we moved to Scotland. We hadn't planned to move until after Dubai, so it was part of the plan, but it kind of wasn't supposed to be at this time. And it comes back to that thing where, like, yeah, well, that was our plan, but this is Allah's plan. And the move to Scotland was definitely like the biggest lesson that I have, like, sort of taken from this year. And if you follow me on Instagram, you will know that even to 2 days ago, I've still been adjusting and struggling. So I moved here in September, and it's taken me, so that's like 4 months to still be trying to settle in and still trying to find myself. And the main reason why is because I didn't just move to a different city away from sort of everything that I knew. Everything changed in my life, and I'm not gonna make this into some sort of, oh, poor me, like it was so hard, Like, I've already said 2019 was hard, and I do share, like, I'm very open in terms of life is not sunshines, butterflies, daisies. This is the first time when my plans have been turned around. And when I filmed like a video like recently, just talking about, you know, how I'm feeling and career changes and blah blah blah, I said that I didn't really want to teach in Scotland. Now that has changed. That is something that first of all, I feel like I shouldn't be going to a different country to teach if I haven't had experience in the last year. And secondly, it's my career, it's my profession, it's a passion of mine, and it's a decent income. And if you think about, for me, like I've been working since I was 17, so that was a big shock to the system. Like going from having my own income and alhamdulillah not having to rely on anybody. Like obviously if I ever needed help, I knew that my parents were there, but not having to rely on anyone to provide me with anything, to suddenly being like out of work. And like I said, at first I was like, this is great, I'm so happy I'm out of work because I need this break. I've never had a break before. I've just gone from education straight into a job, and I've never really had time for myself. But now I have, you know, after 3 months I was done with this time for myself, and so I started looking into applying to be a supply teacher where I'm living. And unfortunately the road to becoming a teacher in Scotland as a teacher from England, it's just so much harder than I would ever have imagined. Anyway, like I'm not going to go too into it, but you have to apply for a specific number which all teachers in Scotland have, and that process is actually quite expensive. I have been going through that. I've been getting my Scotland version of the DBS, and still paperwork is in the works. And in the meantime I thought, well, let me try my hand at online tuition, because online tuition is one of those things that if you watch any of these videos on YouTube of how to have multiple streams of income, which I definitely have been doing, you find out that that's one of the most recommended ways. Like if you, especially if you've got a teaching qualification, but even if you don't and you're very literate of English, you can teach online. And you know, everyone makes it out to be so easy, but it's just not. The demand is not there as much. Now, does that mean again that I'm just gonna now sit here and be like, well, I'm just gonna give up? No. I guess what I'm trying to say is that it's been difficult because it feels like since my setback with Dubai, it seems like everything else has become harder as well. Like I thought, well, okay, well, when I want to teach over in Scotland, it shouldn't be too difficult. Inshallah, you know, it should be totally fine. And no, it wasn't. And then I thought, well, I'll do some online tuition, and it's just harder than it seems to actually be able to build up a profile and get students. And in terms of like my profession, those were the things that, you know, I'm still trying to do, I'm still working towards, but that are just taking longer than I had hoped. And then I also started my own business this year, which actually, well, last year, which actually it was one of my highlights of 2019. I am semi-professional, I would say, photographer. I completed a photography course, which is super fulfilling. It was amazing actually, like being educated again, because it's been a while since I've been in uni, and it was so fun to sit down and work my way through. It was 16-hour course in my own time, but of a subject that I have always loved, and it was so interesting. And I was taking notes and just doing practices, and I'm still doing like practice shots with like my niece. I've photographed now 4 events, and they've all been for like friends and family. They have taught me so much, and what I've learned is that I really enjoy it. I enjoy being the person behind the camera. I enjoy being able to capture all these special moments. I really enjoy the editing process and like learning how to use Lightroom, and you know, not just sticking on a preset or a filter, actually learning like how to edit each picture individually. And it's been such a fulfilling journey in terms of building my craft and skill. And although like the road to becoming a photographer is one that you have to be very patient on, because unfortunately it takes about a year for a photographer to really get going. And inshallah, like in a year I probably won't be doing photography like for a career. I mean, maybe I will in whichever country I'm in, inshallah, but it's taken longer than I've hoped to, you know, obtain my first client and do paid work. But it's a slow process that inshallah, like the more you work at it and the more you try with it, the more traction you're going to get, inshallah. So that was really exciting because it's the first time in my life where I chose to do something which wasn't on my set career path, you know, that I had envisioned from a young age. I've always loved photography, but I never really thought I could take a passion and like make a business out of it, and to have my own very small business. It's kind of amazing because I'm not working in a full-time role. I can afford to take time to do that. That has definitely been a very big highlight of 2019. But I think especially like towards the end of the year, I definitely started feeling a type of way. I started feeling like my life was just going so fast, and suddenly like this path that had been so smooth had become very rocky, and there's just a lot of uncertainty. There's a lot of uncertainty in being unemployed. I think one of the biggest things for 2020 is I want to really increase my financial knowledge, and I am reading a book or two about this, and I'm really trying to educate myself, because I feel like even as a teacher I can say this, like nowhere in school do they really teach you about money management. We are taught to go to school, to go to uni, to get a good job, and to use that money to pay our bills, and then it's kind of like a rat race, like this book I'm reading is explaining. I have got so much to learn and so much to do, but I was feeling incredibly overwhelmed because my routine was totally off, and as much as like, yay, being unemployed means you have the whole day, if you don't have that structure and that focus in the day, then that's it. Like you end up just circling and spiraling in this absolute mess of a person, and that's what I found myself becoming. A part of it was like dealing with the change, and a part of it was just not really having a sense of direction. So I've literally in the last 2 days sat down with my husband, and this might sound a bit funny or like a bit silly, but again, keeping it super real, we sat down and we created a schedule for myself. One of the biggest things for me is keeping up with my daily prayers, whether that's on time or not. And I know that's a bit controversial to say, but as somebody who struggled to maintain her prayers, again, very personal to like share on the internet, but it's something that I feel like a lot of us do go through. I am not going to be going to bed in 2020 if I have not prayed my 5 daily salats. You have to start off as you mean to go on, and you have to accept that, you know what, it's okay to not be perfect in a certain aspect as long as you are trying, because there's no such thing as perfection at the end of the day. But I really feel like Salah is the key to a sense of peace and fulfillment. Yes, I've got my schedule now. Yes, I'm gonna have a sense of timing like you do in work and school, and yes, I will feel like I'm getting a lot more done. But if that's not based around my 5 salahs, then there's no point. Allah is the one who gives you schoon, who gives you peace, who helps you to carry on, you know, and who helps you to see the bigger picture, I think. I'm excited. Like, I have a lot of exciting things coming up. If you follow me on Instagram as well, you'll know that I, as of January, I now have a manager. I'm part of a management company, so hopefully like I'm gonna be able to make something a bit more substantial out of my channel and my socials, and that's really exciting because I've been doing this for years, and I've been doing it as a hobby basically. Like since I was 18, I've been writing my blog, I've been posting on Instagram, and I've been posting YouTube videos for like the last 2 to 3 years. I'm really, inshallah, praying that this year is a year of smarter thinking financially, a year of financial growth, a year of spiritual growth, a year of spiritual stability. Just having that routine, that consistency. 2019, like I said, has taught us so many lessons, and they haven't always been easy, but they have been very valuable. So although I'm not going to miss 2019, I'm definitely going to take a lot from 2019 with me into the new year, and inshallah this is the decade of prosperity for all of us. Inshallah it's a decade where we find ourselves and where we learn to do more of what we love and get better with our time management and all the rest of it. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this little chit chatty video. I've noticed that like a lot of just makeup focused videos, they don't get that much traction or popularity unless they are picked up by Google. But you guys enjoy these sort of chatty videos, so if you did enjoy it, then give me a thumbs up, leave me some comments down below, and I will see you in my next video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye. Guys, I ended this video and I forgot to put a highlighter on. No. We are not going into 2020 without shining bright. Okay, now we can go. Bye everyone. For me to say you